Do you ever get frustrated in the land in between? You know, that liminal space where you're waiting for something to pop, to come to fruition, to come to completion. Maybe it's already started, or maybe it was just simply an intention or a goal, dream, desire, etc. And you're just kind of sitting around waiting for it to do its thing. And it can look like, you know, everyday life where you're just kind of bored and everything is business as usual and you're waiting for something exciting to come around. It can be a really frustrating part of this consciousness journey and navigating the human experience as a spiritual being. Which, if you don't know, I am Nova Wightman. I am the author of the book Awake and Aligned, How to Navigate the Human Experience as a Spiritual Being. You can find it on Amazon. But that's a big part of it is, you know, in this day and age of like, ooh, manifestation and thoughts become things and we are powerful co-creators and spiritual beings and all that jazz, which is all true and it's all great. The part that doesn't get spoken to enough or barely at all is the mundane, is the wait, is the period and the time in between. I just got off of a live Q&A call where it's a sort of office hours. If you're subscribed to my email list, then you'll always hear about those, by the way. But basically, I just show up and I answer as many questions as I can about navigating the human experience, knowing you're a conscious, energetic, spiritual being, and you have all of these supposed powers and abilities, right? But it's one of those things where one second you're like, heck yeah, I am. And then the next second you're like, oh crap, I got to do the dishes. I have to clean up the mess the kids or the dog made and, you know, other kind of boring, monotonous tasks of life. And your life might seem anything but magical and exciting. Or, like I said, you're working towards something, either vibrationally or consciously, or like physically, you're taking these tangible steps and it's just kind of waiting on these factors that are out of your control. What do you do during that time? This question came up on today's office hours call. And the biggest thing that I offered, because I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I do have a hefty amount of insight and perspective and experience with all of this. I've been doing this professionally since 2008. What I have noticed in my experience and observation with myself, applying all this stuff, by the way, but also with my clients and kind of putting together the various books, resources, teachings out there on the topic, I can boil it down to one thing for you. The universe works in sort of a pulse of energy, and we might call this energy ebb and flow. And we're kind of, either consciously or unconsciously, we're looking at that term right there, that phrase, ebb and flow, as ebb, bad, flow, good. I want to be in flow all the time. Flow means ease. It means things coming to me rather than me chasing them or working so damn hard for them all the time. Ebb means, you know, a lot of work or resistance or challenge or starting and stopping or frustration. You know, like we have these connotations attached to it, when really it's a representation of how energy works in an energetic vibrational universe. We live in the physical material world, but at its core, it's energy and it's vibration. So it works in a pulse. And if you can look at it this way, I think it'll really help. When you're experiencing that sweet spot of flow, where you have the energy for things, developments are happening, taking place, things are coming into physical fruition, cooperative components are coming together, you have the energy for it, you're meeting it, you're excited, milk it, like enjoy it, trust that that's the time for it. And then when things seem to sort of quiet down or even dry up or come to a standstill, an ebb, that's when it's your indication to just pull back and restore that energy. It's a recalibration, if you want to look at it that way. And so your work during that time is not to make anything up bad about that or condemn it or say, well, this blows, nothing's going to happen. I guess that wasn't meant to be. But rather just nurture the space, nurture the ebb, which can look like resting. It can look like putting your attention on other things, other projects, other desires, or it can look like just going out and enjoying life or taking a nap or doing nothing and reminding yourself that you're every bit as worthy doing nothing, quote unquote, than you are, or as you are when you're out there shining your light. But it's a natural pulse, right? And by the way, if you watched my last video on energy leaks, I really spoke to, in human design, if you have what's called your root center defined, like I do, then you really work in pulses. So you might notice in your own personal life, and not even just the ebb and flow of the universe, you have an ebb and flow in your access to your energy and your productivity. And when you know this about yourself, you can honor it instead of fighting it, and you actually do become more productive overall, but still getting the downtime that you really need. But getting back to sort of the broader perspective there and the ebb and flow of the universe, in short, try this on for size. When things are moving, move with it. Recognize that that is your time for your conscious participation, for you to show up and do your thing and enjoy it all and contribute to it. And then when it quiets down, don't look at that as a bad thing. Just remind yourself like, oh, that's part of the pulse. It's the ebb. It's time to like pull back, restore, rest, recalibrate, do other things, and wait for the next burst or the next pulse that looks and feels like flow. Stay out of that oh so tempting territory, that temptation to name it as something bad when it's really just the way energy works and the way that it flows. So if you found this helpful, this is a part of what I call my spiritual alignment system. And what that is it's a system that really makes you aware of how energy and vibration and consciousness work in general, but how it works in your own life, and most importantly, how your energy works with it. And when you have an awareness of that and the ability to align with it versus resisting the crap out of it and saying all sorts of bad things about it, which only creates more resistance within you, then you experience more of that feeling and sensation of flow. So just look into your own energy, pay attention, and be very mindful of what you're saying about it and how you're approaching it. And yes, I heard myself just now, just look into your own, like it's so super easy and simple. It's not. That's why I created a system for it. But applying what you've just heard me say in this video is a good place to start.